Hello everybody, welcome back to Book of Kings, where we discuss topics such as history, religion, philosophy, psychology, culture, and more, and the way that they all interact with one another. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to receive a notification every time I release a new video. Hope you enjoy. Hello everybody, we are back for another video. So the topic of the Eurasian Steppe has been a common theme on this channel. And in our discussions of the Eurasian Steppe, one empire which has been frequently mentioned has been the Gokturk Khanate, or the Turkic Khanate. So, as we've discussed, the Gokturk Khanate, or Turkic Khanate, originated within the eastern portion of the Eurasian Steppe, i.e. modern-day Mongolia, and is famous for being the first major Turkic empire to be recorded in history. And therefore, by proxy, it can be inferred that the Turkic people originated from the eastern Eurasian Steppe, i.e. modern-day Mongolia. However, generally, when one thinks of the word Turk, or Turkic, or Turkish, what generally comes to mind? I'm going to take a guess and say that one generally thinks of the modern nation of Turkey. So that may naturally lead to the obvious question. If the Turkish people originated in the eastern Eurasian Steppe, modern-day Mongolia, how did they end up in modern-day Turkey? And what is the connection between the Turkic people of the eastern Eurasian Steppe and the Turkish people of the modern Turkish nation? Well, that will be the topic of today's video. So as we discussed in our video on the fall of the Gokturk Khanate, and as we've mentioned, the Gokturk Khanate was based in the eastern Eurasian Steppe, modern-day Mongolia. And from there it would go on to expand to conquer the majority of the Eurasian Steppe. The Gokturks would then go on to lose control of their western territories within Central Asia and modern-day Russia and Ukraine, resulting in the formation of various new states and khanates, again relegating the Gokturks to their original base of the eastern Eurasian Steppe, modern-day Mongolia. And again, as we discussed in our previous video, they would eventually be overthrown by an alliance of various different tribes within their territory. And if you would like to get a little bit more detail on that whole process, I recommend that you watch my video on that topic. Following the overthrow of the Gokturks, one particular Turkic people, the Seljuk Turks, would be pushed out of that territory into the territory of the Turgesh Khanate, which existed within the eastern portion of present-day Central Asia. One particular people who resided within that territory were the Oghuz Turks. Now, the Oghuz Turks are a very important people in that they formed the foundation and basis for various Turkic cultures, languages, and peoples, including the modern-day Turkish language and people. And it should also be noted, as we mentioned in our video on the language families of the world, that the Oghuz people gave their name to the Oghuz branch of Turkic languages. So the Oghuz Turks would then be defeated by the Seljuk Turks and pushed into the territory of the Kangar Union, where they would establish the Oghuz Yabgu state. And this would be a pivotal moment in what would culminate in the development of the modern Turkish nation and people. Now, one particular clan of Oghuz Turks, the Seljuk Turks, would proceed to convert to Islam through contact with missionaries from the Persian Samanid dynasty to their south. Following the fall of the Samanid Empire and its replacement by the Ghaznavid Empire, the Seljuk Turks would then migrate into the territory of those dynasties, conquer those territories, and create their own empire, the Seljuk Empire. And within the Seljuk Empire, we would see a blending of Turkic and Persian cultures referred to by historians today as the Turco-Persian tradition. The Seljuk Turks would go on to conquer much of the Muslim world, such as modern-day Iraq and the Levant, and would expand beyond the borders of the Muslim world at that time into the Byzantine territory of Anatolia following the Battle of Manzikert, whereby they delivered a crushing defeat to the Byzantines. So, unlike the rest of the population of the Seljuk Empire, the population of Anatolia at that time was mostly Christian and Greek and Armenian speaking. So, to effectively solidify control over that region, the Seljuks would proceed to settle Turkic tribes within that region, whereby the majority Christian, Greek and Armenian speaking population would be ruled by a Turkic Muslim minority, which would begin the process of the gradual Turkification of that region. The Turkification of Anatolia would continue across various states and dynasties, such as the Sultanate of Rum or the Turkish Beyliks, following the fracture of the Seljuk Empire, as more and more of the population would convert to Islam. The Islamification and par and parcel Turkification of that region would continue and culminate in the second half of the 1400s under the rule of the Ottoman Empire, when Muslims would go on to become the majority. This Turkification would continue further into the period of the late Ottoman Empire, whereby the empire would place a heavy emphasis upon the Turkification of its population. And then, of course, following World War I and the corresponding Greek, Armenian, and Assyrian genocide, as well as the population exchanges of ethnic Turks in Greece and ethnic Greeks in Turkey following the Greco-Turkish War, the region would go on to become overwhelmingly Turkified, corresponding to the modern Turkish nation and people, as well as the modern Republic of Turkey. So there you have it. That is the process of how the Turks would originate as a nomadic steppe people from the eastern Eurasian steppe, i.e. modern-day Mongolia, and would then spread through Central Asia into the Persian-speaking regions such as modern-day Iran, and from there proceed to migrate into the Anatolian Peninsula, i.e. modern-day Turkey, whereby that region would be gradually Turkified, resulting in the modern Turkish nation, language, and people. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed. Talk to you next time. Thank you for watching. This has been another Book of Kings video. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to receive a notification every time I release a new video.